Good morning, everybody. 6 a.m. right now. I'm with Rae Finding. This is part of our health practitioners interview session and podcast. And I actually met Rae how long ago now, Rae?
It's almost 10 years. Can you believe that?
No, it's it's crazy how fast time flies.
It is.
Rae was one of my students at National Personal Training Institute, where people go that want to learn how to become a personal trainer and really learn the ins and outs. And they have two different things. They have a 6-month course or a 12-month course. Rae, which one did you do?
I did the 12-month course.
And how many days a week were you going?
Just one day a week. It was
Okay.
on Saturdays, yeah.
Yep. And I've in the past I've had some people that have graduated college and with like a kinesiology degree or something like that.
Yeah.
And I've always told them, hey, if I had two different people walk in that I'd never met and I just had their resume, and one said they went to college to get a degree in kinesiology, or one came to me and they did either the 6-month course or 12-month that course, MPTI.
Yeah.
I would be more likely to hire the person from National Personal Training Institute. And my friend was actually really offended. He's like, they just went and got, and I went to 4 years. And I said,
It's a huge difference.
It is. And the practical application that you guys learn everything about the function of the body, all the internal workings, all the nutrition. The test of knowing every single bone in the body, every single muscle in the body. But the biggest thing that I told them is during that time, the practical application where they're training all of each other, and then an instructor like myself walking around that has had 10 plus years at that point in the fitness industry, training you how to become an actual trainer on the floor and how to train clients.
Yeah.
That's invaluable because you're getting 20 or 10 years of experience from me of how to do that. And that's the big difference, because I've known a lot of people that know everything about health and wellness, but you put them with a client
and they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. And it's really tough. And that's one of the things when you're looking at a trainer. If let's say you had a relative that was out of state, there's no way that you could help them. What is something that you would suggest someone going and looking for a trainer? What would maybe be the first point that you'd be like, hey, I want you to ask this question, or this is what you should look for?
Yeah. So I think the first thing that they should look at is the trainer's bio, because generally with a bio, they have their experience, they have how many years they're in the industry. So you can tell if they've gone to a tech school like NPTI, or if they've gone to a 4-year, or if they just read a book and took a test, because that's pretty much the different options and venues for getting into personal training. And I was kind of floored by that when I first was in school to go to personal training, that somebody could just read a book and take a test and then be a personal trainer, especially with my experience at NPTI, just because it was so hands-on. And I learned so many different things about like just the different ways you should tuck your elbows in a tricep extension, and for, good biomechanic use. And I just don't think those things are hit on when you are just reading a book and taking a test. Like, it's just kind of the nuances that you wouldn't get from that. But then I've had the unique position of also being in that 4-year degree too, because I'm back in school for chiropractic. And I can definitely see that, again, there isn't that hands-on application. So I think when you're looking at hiring a trainer, you first want to know their background. You want to know what type of education that they've had. And then you also want to look at how many years have they been doing this? Are they fresh out of that? Or do they have that experience where they've kind of worked out all those kinks? They've kind of been working with people long enough to know what they're doing. And then from there, I would say look at their, generally most trainers have like a niche that they try to focus on. And I would say, does that align with your goals? Because that's huge. And then kind of get to know them first. Don't just blindly jump in. It's okay to like ask them questions, get a feel for their personality. I think personality matching is huge, because if you don't feel comfortable with the trainer, they're obviously not going to be somebody that pushes you and motivates you into helping you get the goals that you want.
Yeah. You kind of hit on a lot right there.
I know.
and which is awesome. And one of the big things I'm just going to kind of start with is a continued education part.
Yeah.
Like you said, what type of education or continued education does this trainer have? It's crazy, like with yourself, meeting you 10 years ago, and you're one of multiple of my students that have gone on to open up their own business, or, Comfort, who was in your class.
Yeah.
Now in chiropractic and going into functional medicine and kind of following down that path, and me as a personal trainer, when I started, I was 20 years ago, I thought I was just gonna be training people for 6-pack abs or beach body workouts, and realizing, wow, that's not what majority of people need.
Yeah.
And I've gone into that functional realm and integrative health realm too, working with people with autoimmune disease, type 2 diabetics. We do a lot of prehab and post-hab surgery.
I do too.
And so figuring out a trainer that has, like you said, a specific, target that they're really good at, and maybe some other things, but you don't want, I see it all the time. It's one of the reasons why I left like the big box gym, where actually one of the gyms I was at, I left that facility and asked to be transferred to a different location. The thing that was kind of my final straw was I sat down with a lady after she had joined the gym for a membership. I sat her down, was talking to her about hiring a personal trainer and what her goals were. The manager came over to sit down and kind of talk to her about putting her on a package. Well, all of a sudden the manager comes up to me and goes, well, she's not going to do it, but we're going to interview for a job next week. She was a nurse, so she technically had a health degree. She had no idea about working out, no idea about exercise, no idea about diet, and she should have actually been hiring a personal trainer to help her with her weight. But they hired her, and a lot of people
hired her as a personal trainer. That's crazy.
Yep. And she's got a degree in health and wellness, and she had no real background in fitness.
Ugh, that's horrible.
But some of those big places, all they care about is making money. So if we can get someone in here just to sell somebody, that's all they care about.
Oh yeah, 100%. I've seen that so many times. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a really scary situation. A lot of people, when they walk into a facility, if I give you a 1970 Ford Pinto or a brand new Lamborghini, the difference in value there.
Yes, yeah.
A lot of people in health and wellness, and they walk into a facility, they have no idea what they're getting value-wise.
Right. I think people don't even know what to research.
Yeah, and it's a big problem out there, because I can put up a flashy website of a bunch of before and after pictures from people around the country, but that doesn't mean that the person, if I use XYZ Fitness and they're a franchise and they have 1,000 people up before and after pictures, but they have 1,000 franchises. Well, where was that person's starting point? Who was training them? How did they get results? That doesn't mean the person that's going to teach you is going to help you in any sort of aspect or keep you safe.
And did they keep those results? That's a thing that those before and after pictures don't even touch on, is how long did those results stick? Was it a lifestyle change, or was it a couple months because they obtained those results in a really unhealthy way?
Yeah. And something's not sustainable, which is the big problem. I being in the industry for almost 20 years, some of my very first clients, so I've had clients for 15, 16, 17, 18 years now.
Yeah,
that's still awesome. With me, right? And during that time, life happens. I have one client, he's been with me for about 5 years. And when work gets really busy for him, he owns a couple companies. He might have a 2 or 3 week period where he's not working out. We'll be talking or texting. And he goes, don't worry, I'm working on my before picture for you right now. Next 2 weeks, right? Because you have times where life gets in the way, you might put on a few extra pounds or whatever.
Oh yeah, that happens.
Right? And then you kind of get back into things, but it's kind of that lifestyle aspect.
Right.
One of the things kind of with that continued education and kind of looking at somebody and going in and asking, okay, so who's going to be instructing me, or who's going to be training me and meeting them? I think you hit a really good point of making sure that you like that person.
Yes, chemistry.
Because, Barb and I always have people come in for a 7-day trial. They'll work with Barb for a half hour. They work with me for a half hour, because we want to make sure that their personality meshes with us.
Yeah.
But also our community here.
Yeah. And I think you guys are really good at that. You guys are really good at building community.
Yeah, and we want that to, there are certain people that aren't going to mesh with that. And the first 5 years in the industry, I didn't have a lot of choice of who I was training.
Yeah.
Because you're just trying to build up your book of business and
Yeah.
that's what, and get clients to where that you can actually survive off the income.
Right. Live.
And there were clients where you kind of dreaded it. And I'm sure that they kind of came in dreading as well, just because you didn't mesh, and that makes a big issue.
Well, and it makes a hard process even more tedious than what it needs to be.
Yeah, and if two people aren't connected together and working towards the same goal, if there's any issues going on there, you're kind of setting yourself up to failure.
Yeah, I mean, it's ultimately it's teamwork. Like, we're both working towards the same goal, and if not one person is as on board as what they need to be, it's not going to result in success.
Yeah. When the continued education part, like I said, I mean, you've been in the industry for a long time now, almost 10 years. When you were working, before you opened up your own facility, like, how many people did you see actually keep with continued education?
So I think it depends. There's definitely each certification has different requirements for CECs. And so I think the biggest thing that I saw was people doing CECs just to do CECs, not to actually learn, and not to actually, like, some of them get quite expensive. And so I definitely saw people trying to find the cheapest ones, which there's nothing wrong with that, but they also tried to find the easiest, quickest ones. It was generally, oh no, I'm like, CECs are due. What can I find? What can I do really quick? There wasn't a whole lot of, I would say there was a handful of trainers that really wanted to know and really wanted to do better, and learn and to help their clientele that way. Otherwise, the majority out there really just like dreaded CECs, didn't want to put the time, didn't want to put the money into it. Yeah, so I like, with National Personal Training Institute, I don't even have a requirement for CECs, but I definitely take as many and as what I can get in, and I'm constantly reading, especially if there's a client that has something come up that I'm not familiar with. I do as much research, and it's definitely having that passion for wanting to learn more has made me such a better trainer. I feel very confident, like somebody coming in with RA, somebody coming in with Parkinson's, or rehabbing a shoulder injury. Like, I've dealt with all, like, full spectrum at this point, and I feel really confident in that. So I think definitely making sure that it's somebody who wants to learn, somebody who's passionate about the human body, and that they have those different experiences, because you don't want it to just be somebody who's very laissez-faire about knowledge when it comes to their industry.
Yeah. One, you were using CEC, just for anybody out there. It's continued education credit. Certain places you have to keep that up. You being a chiropractor, you're gonna have to do the same thing.
Yeah.
But looking at that aspect of always wanting to learn, you've gone into, another aspect of health, which is gonna be chiropractic care.
Yeah.
And, that's one of the things with Barb and myself too, is, the amount of time that we spend with continuing education through different courses, conferences, things like that, or like you said, reading. There's not a day that goes by where I don't spend 15 to 20 minutes reading something health and wellness related.
Yeah.
And I probably watch another video that's gonna be 5 to 10 minutes on something health and wellness related.
Yep.
And doing that every day, over the course of 20 years,
it adds up.
Yeah, it adds up a lot. But like you said with the clients, we have clients that come in that are like you or myself, and we're looking for a good workout. We're looking at improving in some sort of area. We're physically fit. We've been exercising for a long time. And, yourself, I've even trained you as a client, just recently, as just like a year ago.
Yeah.
And that part of continuing education. But when a lot of people are shocked to find out, wait, you train trainers? Yeah, I
Yeah,
train trainers all the time. And
all
when
the
I was
time.
at Gold, I trained majority of the trainers there. Like people be like, "Oh, how come you're training that trainer?" Well, just because we're a trainer doesn't mean number one that we know everything.
We're people
Number
too.
yeah, and number two that we're human. So
Yeah.
sometimes we don't like to work out, or you need to have
Yes.
someone make you do something that you wouldn't do because
Yeah.
you don't like, even though you know that you need it.
Right. Oh, 100%. Yeah. And I like that's people ask me all the time, like, oh, why training? Why should I hire a trainer? And I say, everybody needs it. Even like my kind of famous tagline is trainers need trainers. Even trainers need trainers.
Yeah.
And it's because, well, and just having like eyes on, like I came to you wanting to work my posterior chain and I can't see my posterior chain. I can't see what's firing or what's not firing. Like I definitely had dysfunction back there and I couldn't get it working myself. So yeah, it was time to bring in a professional.
Yeah, and having eyes on you is what's really key, and that can be just in the way your body's moving. And
Yeah.
that's one thing that's sometimes scary about like these large group classes, like when you were at the YMCA or
Oh my
when I was
gosh.
at Gold, like you
Yeah.
have the, whether it be, jump around fitness or step fitness or bar
Pump
fitness, whatever,
fitness.
yeah,
Yeah.
whatever it may
Yeah.
be. You have somebody up there, like you said, they take it, their level of education is very small. I mean, it's a 4-hour
Oh,
course on a
it's
Saturday.
even worse. It is even worse for group X classes, for group exercise classes. It's even worse. They literally, I went through the training and it was a joke. It was literally a 1 8-hour day, and they tried to pack as much as they could in that. It was very little anatomy, not any nutrition. Never ever take nutrition advice from somebody who is just a group X. And I don't say that to offend any like group personal trainers. There certainly are a lot of them who do have that like thirst for knowledge and they do their research, and I'm not begging on them, but they're definitely not certified and it is beyond their scope. So yeah, just take that with a grain of salt and just know that when you're going into a group exercise setting, that the person that is teaching you might be really good at working out, but they don't necessarily know your specific place that you're coming from and your specific condition, and they might not be able to guide you in the best way. And they're definitely not even, like we were told that we could cue things like, oh, step back a little bit further into that lunge or push your butt back a little bit further, but we weren't allowed to like fix things. So we couldn't be like, stop, that's not right, that's going to injure you. So they're definitely can't even do injury prevention as much as what is necessary sometimes. So that gets a little scary.
And that was always something that always made me so nervous of having somebody, hey, they sat and took an 8-hour course. You forget everything you forget 90% of everything in an 8-hour course 48 hours later.
Right. There's no practice or repetition.
No. And so people have a very low aspect of what to do. And really they're just up there telling you what to do next. They have, and if you have 20, 30 people, you can't watch them anyway.
Right. It's too many.
Yep. And so the guidance there is not a good situation. And so if you go to a large big box gym and you walk into a group X class, that's what you're getting from somebody. It's basically no different than if they would just put in a DVD,
right,
and hit play and say, follow along,
yes.
and that's fine for some people.
Yeah.
But
if they know what good form is, if they, like that's fine, but it's just not ideal for a beginner. I can't even tell you how many times I had somebody come in and they're like, oh, I do beach body. I work out all the time at home. And I'm like, okay, give me a push-up. And the form is just unbelievably horrible. And they're like, oh yeah, my shoulder kind of hurts. And it's like, yeah, that's because you've been doing push-ups like that.
I can't believe you just brought up push-ups with me. You always hated when I was
I know.
But that's how you got good at them, right?
Right.
Having a pair of eyes going through that. Yeah. And that it really, now some of that type of stuff is starting to actually change positions into some of these other facilities, that
Yeah.
it could be a franchise, it could be a small boutique gym, kind of like Barb and I have here. But all the time I'll talk to somebody like, oh, I do this kick class, or I do this intensity workout at this facility or whatever. And they'll be like, yeah, I started with this person. We both went through a 6-week course challenge. We both did it twice. They're now teaching me and instructing me because they were so good at going through the course. So this person never even actually had any school. They don't have any cert. They went through 3 months of being told what to do, and now they're up instructing.
Right, exactly. And being good at working out doesn't mean that you're going to be good at teaching others. Like, you have no idea what that person is going through. You have no idea, like I said, kind of their condition, their circumstances, and how to address that for that person. Yeah, I've had people say that too, like people who are really good at working out, and they're like, oh, I'm basically a personal trainer. And it's like, really? But how would you handle somebody with multiple injuries or like an autoimmune deficiency? Like, how do you handle that? Like, that's what a personal trainer does. So we're not just good at working out.
Yeah. And, and that's kind of with bringing up like rheumatoid arthritis and autoimmune diseases, type 2 diabetics and things like that.
Yeah.
Barb being diagnosed with that 15 years ago, doing everything naturally, my mom being diagnosed in the 90s, me helping her do everything naturally.
Yep.
It's not just about movement. It's not just about, hey, do an anti-inflammatory diet. You have to understand how the body works, how each system works, but how it works as a whole.
As a whole, yeah.
And that's really important. A lot of people don't understand that. Like you said, I mean, when I first started training, I was in really good shape. I knew how to work out. I had some education under my belt, but from the trainer I was then to the trainer I'm now is a complete black and white difference.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, just with experience, but over the years of continuing education, the amount of education you've gotten alone just going through chiropractic school, how the body functions, that's a different level of learning than just training. It's the same thing with the functional medicine, integrative health, with the nutrition, with Barb and I helping people out too. That's a different level of, just go eat chicken and broccoli. Anybody can lose weight by eating chicken and broccoli, right?
Right.
Anybody can lose weight by eating a deficit, but is it healthy for you?
Right. Oh, and exactly. I love that you just touched on that. I was just having a conversation with somebody about how there are some healthy foods that are actually very detrimental to people. Like, I have gallbladder issues. I still have my gallbladder. But if I'm eating raw broccoli, raw cauliflower, raw kale, it really inflames that, and it's really going to set me back. So those healthy foods aren't actually great for my body.
And those were 3 of the healthiest foods most people eat.
Right. And that personal trainers tell you to eat.
Right. And those little variations between everybody is big, and why we have people not go, hey, this is cookie cutter diet 101, everyone follow this. And that's where some people, again, if we bring up like someone who's doing a 6-week challenge at a facility, hey, work out 6 days a week, eat this limited amount of food, eat 6 times a day. None of it's lifestyle change. You can't follow it for your life. And how do you know that you don't, whatever you're putting in your body actually might not be right for what your body needs, and why you're not losing weight? Or is it because you're overworking out and under eating, and your body is in such a deficit, it is breaking down muscle faster than it's fat, and you're looking at cause and injury? And so, not just doing the exercise part, but the nutrition part is really important as well.
Yeah.
So
like abs are made in the kitchen, and like 80-20. Yeah. Like 80% of it is what you put in your body, 20% of it is your workout. Because how are you going to get the results if you're not fueling to get those results?
Yeah, and especially if you're dealing with something very specific, if we're dealing with somebody that might have an injury or is dealing with pain from movement or from an autoimmune disease, and how to help get that health crisis under control, and to get it fixed. I mean, we've worked with one of the same clients and got him off all his medication for diabetes.
Oh, yeah.
And then also on top of that.
And it was more than just diabetes. It was diabetes. It was cholesterol and blood pressure. Like, he was on a lot, and we got him off of all of those. Yeah. Yeah.
And when you look at somebody that's on 5 to 10 medications.
Yeah.
Number one, Rae and I are not doctors. We are not telling you to ever get off your medication, but,
no.
but starting to get your body healthy enough to where when you go to the doctor going, hey, look where my numbers are going, look where my numbers are going.
Yes.
What do you do? And over a period of time, you slowly start decreasing that with that doctor's guidance. And
right.
people with autoimmune disease, type 2 diabetics, like you touched on, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, a lot of these situations, people are, hey, you need to take this medication. And in their brain, they're like, oh, I have this condition. The doctor told me I have to take this medication. Some doctors even say, nope, diet and exercise won't even help with where you're at, which is one of the biggest ridiculous things I've ever heard. But a lot of people take that doctor grain of salt and, okay, take a medication, and now there's nothing else I can do. So they never try anything else. They don't try to get healthier. And you and I both know the power and the healing power of the body. And it can do wonders. Yeah. And you can get back to being a healthy individual with essentially any situation that you have. I mean, you brought up Parkinson's disease. You know, there's a lot of things coming out about Parkinson's now that you're seeing reversal on that. You know, one of my clients, Nate, with Frederickson's ataxia, which is a thing. You know, it's a neurological muscular disorder as well. And technically, he's not supposed to be able to gain muscle on it. He should have been, his life expectancy should have been 24 to 28 years old. He's in his late 30s now. In the first 3 years, we were able to put on 35 pounds of muscle, you know, with him being in a wheelchair, you know, and all those things technically, according to medical, say is not possible. But it is if you're doing some things right. Now, is he going to ever reverse that condition, being a genetic one he was born with? No. But you can still be the healthiest version of yourself possible. And that's really one of the most important things. If someone's on 15 medications and you get them down to 5, and now they're pain free, they're feeling better, their life expectancy just increased by 15 years, and those last 15 years are actually fun and active and exciting, that's life changing right there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's definitely.
So
definitely life changing.
I loved some of the stuff you talked about, like hiring someone, you know, what to look for with a specific personal trainer and interviewing. I think everyone really needs to start, if they're going to go pay, whether it's $50 or $500 a month to work out, to understand the value of what you're paying. You know, I kind of use the analogy a lot of times with people. You know, if I told Barb, hey, I'm going to take you on a really nice date Friday night, I want you to dress up, look really nice. And I take her to McDonald's and say, order whatever you want off the dollar menu. Right? She would be pissed. You know, if your husband did that to you, would you guys be in a marriage very much longer?
No.
Right? But if we go to a really expensive steakhouse, it's all cow, right? But the difference between a McDonald's double cheeseburger and going to a high-end
quality.
It's the quality, it's the preparation, it's the knowledge of the preparation. There's a lot of steps there that make the whole experience completely different. And that's kind of that difference in value. And a lot of times with value doesn't always mean a dollar menu item or a $50 steak or paying $50 or paying $5,000, you know, but the value and what it's going to do to change your life can make something very priceless. So thanks for sitting down and talking with me this morning.
Of course, anytime.
And we'll touch base here shortly. And everybody, we'll have Rae back again and do another one. And we'll talk more. If you guys ever have any questions, make sure you just comment on here. You can always reach out to Barb or to Rae, send us messages as well. She's located up kind of the Plymouth Maple Grove area. So don't be afraid to reach out. You know, and some of the stuff here in Minnesota, we're trying to reach high-end personal trainers that really know their stuff, that are changing their communities. Yeah. Make sure that if you're up in Maple Grove, if you're up in St. Cloud, you know, we have clients that drive from St. Cloud to come down here to Protege from Stillwater. You know, but if there's a trainer around for somebody that's closer to them and they can't make it here, I would rather you went to someone that was very perfect for you in knowledge and coaching and personality. And that's the goal of all this stuff. So I really appreciate you sitting down with me this morning, and go have fun with the kids and tell the family hi for me. And we'll talk soon.
Sounds good, Scott.
Thanks, Rae.
Yep. Thank you.